Hello, my name is Tim, and today is September 26th, 2018. And I wanted to give an update. Last spring, I did my 5-year anniversary of being caffeine free, and I talked a little bit about the entire health plan I'm on, diet plan. So I wanted to talk just a little bit more about that, explain that in a little bit more detail. First of all, there are, I guess, 5 components to it, and several I've already talked about a lot. Quitting caffeine. On my channel, I sort of walk you through everything for the last 5 years, really. I talk about quitting sugar and how I did that. I actually didn't quit sugar, but I've just reduced my sugar intake. And 2 things that have helped with that is, one has been quitting caffeine has actually helped because many of the things I was drinking that had caffeine had sugar too. And also this something that I will talk about today, the fasting, which is a major component of my diet, that has also helped me cut down on sugar. The third thing is exercise is a key component. The fourth element is vitamin D. The book that I read a few years ago, I don't know if you can see this, The Vitamin D Solution by Michael Holick. It's actually one of the easiest components of my diet. I actually don't even take any vitamins or anything, but I sort of sold on the idea that the sun is a major source of vitamin D, or sort of a source of sustenance for us. And in our current society, we're out of the sun most of the time. And then when we do go in the sun, we wear a lot of sunscreen. So what I do is I live in the Northeast, and on sunny days, I just try to get 20 minutes of sun, 15 or 20 minutes of sun. I'm Irish. I did my ancestry recently, and I'm 45% Irish and half French as well, and 10% English. But these are all northern clime countries, and I have very fair skin, so it doesn't take much. And I don't even really hardly get a tan, but I get just enough. Okay, so the fifth part is really a big part of my whole diet that I haven't talked much about, and it's fasting. And it's really the thing I would say I concentrate most of the time on. The other things are easy. The sunlight is easy to get, and you just sort of do it periodically. It's not hard. Quitting caffeine, although quitting caffeine is extremely hard to do. Once you quit caffeine and you're off it for about a year, it's essentially effortless. There's no effort involved in that. Cutting sugar is an effort. And when I talk about my fasting, I'll show how that helps too. And exercise is just something I do normally. So let's talk about fasting, intermittent fasting. And I actually blogged about this almost 10 years ago. Even before I got into the caffeine thing, about 10 years ago, I would say 30 pounds overweight. I weighed 210. And I started blogging. I have a blog, fasttolast.blogspot.com, if anyone wants to look at it. Probably no one's looked at it in 10 years or 5 years, but it still exists out there. And I also have some background information about myself and some other partial blogs that you can link to from there. The diet that I did is sort of a variant of this diet, the Fast 5 diet. And this guy, Bert Herring, I guess is sort of one of the founders of this idea of intermittent fasting. Although I should say intermittent fasting goes back, all the ancient religions had and still do to a certain degree have some fasting components to it. I've made a change this summer. So first let me tell you about the old form of fasting I was doing. And I would actually more refer you to my blog. And that one I sort of discuss the version that I was doing, which in the simplest terms, I would have a eating window of a certain number of hours, ideally 4 or 5 hours, and a fasting window of like 20 hours every day. And that was the form I was using when I got to that picture right there, which was a couple years ago when I hit my goal weight of 180. I made a change though this summer. My fiance moved in a couple years ago, and I found that is good for a single guy, but for someone in a relationship, it's not a very socially acceptable diet. So let me tell you the diet that I'm doing now, or the fasting schedule that I'm doing now. And I've been doing it for a couple months now. I basically eat twice a day, lunch and dinner, I guess. I eat at around 11, and then I eat again at 7. I try to take like a lunch hour and a dinner hour and not eat between meals. So in a sense, it's even more restrictive than the other one, when ideally I'm only eating 2 hours a day during lunch hour and dinner hour, and avoiding eating between meals. Again, this is when everything is going perfect. And secondly, I fast every week, 1 day a week. Before I was fasting 1 day a month. And I've been doing that for a couple months now. Every Sunday I fast, and I do a 36 to 40 hour fast. So this may sound extreme, but quitting caffeine also sounded extreme, but now that I've quit caffeine, it's actually a very natural thing. There's no effort involved. And similarly, I'm finding with this fasting, once you get into the fasting thing, it becomes sort of very natural and not even something that I dread. I actually look forward to my fasts. And I found when I was fasting once a month that during that month I would say, man, I feel like fasting more. And so now I'm doing it once a week. And I think that sort of mimics, the way humans evolved over time. I mean, I'm thinking generally, back in the Stone Age or whatever, if you got a good meal every day, you're doing well. You probably would only eat once a day. If you ate twice a day, you're doing pretty well. And every 3 or 4 days, you'd probably go hungry. So I think that's how our bodies have evolved over time. And not just humans, but all animals. And when the body is not eating, it's doing other things. It's doing regenerative things to help your body. So that's basically my diet. I'm fasting once a week and eating twice a day. And one other key component of everything, and I may stop doing this now because with this recent diet, I find I have less reason to do it, but I log everything in this book. I bought one of these monthly planners, and I just log in every day. I have sort of an obsessive compulsive, and I have these going back for like 4 years now. So maybe I'll publish a graph of my weight over time. But I in Blue Ink, I do my weight. I do any exercise I'm doing that week. So walking, gym. Anything in red is something I shouldn't have been eating. Like I had sangria and a pastry that day, I guess. As you can see, I cheat a lot on most days. But I haven't been recently in my last couple months. And then I do my eating window, but I've changed this now since I don't have an eating window. So like in the last couple months, this is all over the place, but maybe you'll get some idea of something about what I'm doing. But you see, actually in the last month, like September, I've hardly cheated at all in terms of the reds. And I haven't been able to exercise because I hurt myself recently. I hurt my foot. But anyway, this is very disorganized thought. But thanks for watching.